Everybody, welcome back to another Jackson jet setting ship tour. Today I'm excited to bring you on board the MSC Seashore. She's an EVO-Class ship sailing for MSC out of Port Canaveral. She does short Bahama sailings like I was on, as well as week-long sailings throughout the Caribbean. With 20 decks and over 170,000 gross tons to show you today, we're going to have to get started. I had Yacht Club this sailing, which was awesome, so I could actually show you inside the Yacht Club. If you're not familiar with Yacht Club, it is a ship within a ship. This is the concierge class on board, and on deck 20, you have your own private sun deck, complete with pool, bar, a small buffet open for breakfast and lunch, and a few hot tubs sprinkled about, and even some cabanas that are available for rent for a pretty reasonable price. I saw as low as $30 for a half day. So a really awesome option if it's within your budget. And I will say that MSC prices Yacht Club a little bit more competitively than other competitors in a similar class. You'll have full bar service up here, and there's really no reason to leave the Yacht Club for reasons that you'll see a little bit later in the video. Everything you possibly need on board is available in this Yacht Club area. Really love the oversized hot tub with that bridge-like view. I just love all the 360 views of the ocean that you're getting here. So they knocked this out of the park, in my opinion. The Yacht Club never felt busy to me. There were plenty of sun loungers everywhere at all times during the day. No seat saving here, so definitely something to look into on your next MSC cruise aboard the MSC Seashore. So it's not the full length of the ship here on deck 20, it's just one small portion, but it is a pretty decent size for the number of passengers that sail in Yacht Club. So you do have a buffet that's open for breakfast and lunch that you can peruse. I used it a lot for breakfast. And they did set out some snacks during non-meal times in case you needed just a little snack. But the bar was open all day. You have coffee machines all over the place here on MSC because it is an Italian cruise line. So you have espresso at nearly every bar. So that's a big highlight for me as a major coffee drinker. So you have a nice sized pool here up on deck 20. Plenty of showers around to shower off before or after your pool session. Just note you can't access the rest of the ship from the outside decks here. You do have to go back inside into the Yacht Club to exit and visit the rest of the ship. Now I do want to take you over to the end of the Yacht Club area here to show you a little bit more of the ship that you can see from the Yacht Club. It does give you a good idea of some of the other options available for recreation. Maybe you have people that are sailing with you that aren't in Yacht Club, or maybe you're just interested in exploring the ship. I appreciate you watching this video. But you can see the retractable roof here for the solarium pool, which is pretty cool. So they can open and close that based on weather, and it's just a really nice feature to have on board any cruise ship. So Yacht Club spans deck 16 through 20. There's no deck 17 on board MSC ships because that's an unlucky number in Italy. But you do have this mini atrium with some stairwells that'll take you down between decks, as well as a private elevator just for these couple of floors within Yacht Club, which is pretty cool. A couple of different displays for things to buy on board in the common areas here in the atrium. And a long hallway will take you down to the topsail lounge. So the topsail lounge spans 2 decks at the front of the ship. Deck 17 is going to have the restaurant, and so this overlooks the topsail lounge on 16. You walk in here, no reservations needed, and there was always a table for me at any point in time that I wanted to dine. But check out the amazing views from the indoors here. You have 2 decks full of windows, and coming down the stairs here, the Swarovski crystals in the stairwell. Just really a beautiful environment here. Piano music playing through a lot of the day, or some live music that they bring in. Some small entertainment. I saw a magician at one point. Really just a beautiful lounge, and it's great to have dinner upstairs as well. Just a really great environment, and it's really hard to leave this area. You do have a bar down on deck 16. That's all included in your Yacht Club package. They set out waters during port days to grab and go. I loved all the Pellegrino everywhere here as a big sparkling water drinker. Really nice to have that plentiful here. But there's also an outdoor area that we'll explore. Just a small little sun deck, which is really nice just to not have to go all the way up to deck 20 to do that. It's above the bridge, directly above the bridge. So pretty cool that you can have the exact same view as the captain. But you can see it's not very big. kind of used, I think, as a smoking area as well. Since this is a European cruise line, I did notice a few more smoking areas than some of the other ships that I've sailed on for the channel. And while we're talking about the channel, if you love these types of videos, if you love full cruise ship tours, cruising in general, resorts, travel, please subscribe to the channel or at least like this video. It really helps us out. Another view of the lounge from the opposite end of the room. So plenty of different types of seating here for groups just to lounge and enjoy their time on board. Some seating at the bar, which is really great. Great bartenders in here making really killer drinks. And there is a small buffet in here as well with some small snacks. They'll bring you some snacks with your drink. It's just really great service. And so when it's time to leave here, you can walk down the hallway again and out the main lobby of the yacht club, and you're on deck 16. Or you can depart from any of the other decks besides deck 20. My floor was deck 19, and if I wanted to get out to the rest of the ship, I had to walk through the top 19 club. And so this is a extra charge sun deck just for those guests. It can be any part of the ship. You have some fare classes that include this as well. It's included in Yacht Club, but they have a private bar. They have some private hot tubs and then just better sun chairs and a more relaxed environment on the top deck. So it is kind of paywalled on MSC. If you want to get to this area of the ship, you are going to have to pay for it in some way. Found it very easy to depart this way though, if I wanted to go walk the rest of the decks. This is a fairly large ship, so there is a lot to do, and so we're going to show you all of that on board. Still plenty of deck chairs on deck 19. This is going to lead into one of my favorite areas on this ship. For families, I thought this was all very well done. But before we show you that, I do want to note that there are a lot of spas on board MSC Seashore. Plenty of them. I felt like some of them maybe got busy in the more public areas, but there was always one that you could probably find in a small corner somewhere. So I think they do a really good job on MSC. I noticed this even on smaller ships like the Divina. There are just a lot of hot tubs on board compared to something like the Disney Wish that just has one. And there are several water slides on board. This is our first one that we'll come across. This is actually a tube slide. So this departs from what they call deck 21, but it's more like deck 20. So you have to walk up a couple of stairs here in the Pirates Cove. And this is one of my favorite areas on board the ship because they did such a good job theming this. All the kids on board seem to be having an amazing time. It's under shade, so you're not getting sunburned as a young child in here. And it's just got this really cool pirate feel. They've got giant octopuses just trying to take down the ships. There's tons of rope courses everywhere, multiple water slides going inside and outside of the ship. Really cool stuff. I think this is a really well done area on the MSC Seashore. Our second slide is more of a smaller child slide. It's going to be open air and a little bit more gentle, though I went down and it's still pretty fun. And then walking up another flight of stairs from here, you'll find two twin water slides that are enclosed, and so those are going to be your speed slides, and then the tube slide over here to the right. So great views of the rest of the ship from up here as well. And I didn't notice that the lines really got all that long, which is pretty great. But the rest of the area has tons to explore. There's a shallower pool for the younger kids. There's just water going all over the place, buckets. They even have this cool faux rope bridge. It's actually set in place. It doesn't actually rock, but it does go up and down. That was pretty cool. And then the twin water slides depart right here. So really just an awesome area. And up here on the left is the other exit for the top 19 sun deck. So these are nearly identical. So they're fun to race, at least against maybe one of your friends on board. And it's got some clear areas as well. So you can look out a little bit on the ship, though you're going so fast down these things that it was hard to see. And we're going to go explore a little bit more of the sun deck here. Right past the slides is the Horizon Bar. I didn't see this in operation, but I imagine it does open during the later afternoon hours, but this does have a great view over the main pool on board the MSC Seashore. And then weirdly, there was something else going on that was kind of industrial on the other side, so it wasn't possible to walk all the way through this bar. So not really sure what's going on there. If you know, let me know in the comments. And so doubling back, we're going to walk back through Pirates Cove because this is how we can get up to the ship's sports court as well as a few other view decks. I will say MSC ships, to me, and the two that I've sailed and other ones that I have looked at online, do seem to be hard to navigate. There's a lot of dead ends, there's a lot of hidden stairwells, and it is kind of fun as someone who reviews ships to find and discover all these secret areas, but I think as more of a casual guest, especially on a shorter cruise like I was on, could be kind of hard to figure out where things are on the ship. This is the MSC Sports Arena. I do like that they put some stadium seating next to all these sports arenas on MSC ships. Just makes it kind of feel a little bit more important when you're playing pickleball. But this is a nice little area. It's a little hidden, so if you're looking to sail on the MSC Seashore soon, hopefully this video helps you find it. And here's a look at the arena area here underneath the smokestack. And you do have a great view of the main pool from up here. So now let's go check out the Long Island pool. So this is the first name that we'll come across that is sort of New York themed. It seemed like the Seashore does have a New York theme here. You'll see more of that on the lower decks. But the Long Island pool is going to be the main pool here on the MSC Seashore. And it's going to lead to one of the more unique areas on board that I'll show you in just a second. And some videos may skip ahead during these portions, but I do like to show just how much deck space is dedicated to deck chairs here, which I think is really great with MSC. Other American cruise lines may have monetized this space or put in another bar, but there's just more sun deck space for people on board MSC, and I think that's really great. Now we're entering Pirates Cove once again, now on the lower level, and this is where the tube slide spits out. If you want to go get tubes, you got to walk them up the stairs, and this is where you'll grab them. They only had a couple available, so you do have to wait for the tubes down here, which does keep the line shorter on the stairwell, which is nice. But a nice pirate ship for the kids to go play in. And then the outdoor area for the kids club is located here as well. And we'll show you the kids clubs from the inside shortly. So in order to get back inside from this area, you do have to walk a pretty tight line next to all the splashing kids. And we'll make our way inside here and show you a little bit more of the interior space here on the MSC Seashore. Inside is going to be the Hall of Games, and the Hall of Games is an arcade. Pretty fancy arcades on board MSC though. They have some pretty cool equipment here. We'll show you all of that here in just a second as we walk through. So you can walk through the games themselves, or there's a hallway that can avoid all of the fun. You can walk that way. Some colored windows here, which is pretty fun. The star of the show here are going to be the virtual games right at the entrance at the end of this hallway. So you do have kind of your typical carnival games and video games that you can find in a lot of arcades, some with prizes, but the F1 simulators on the MSC ships are pretty cool. They're extra charge, $12, but this one even had a virtual wrap that you could do with friends, and there's a 4D theater on board. So pretty cool that they have all these different kids activities here. They offer a couple of different packages as well, so just keep that in mind. But coming out of that is going to be where you'll find the teen club. So the teen club is not a very big room by any means. There's just a couple of games, different video games, some hangout areas, but it is pretty hidden, so that's pretty cool. And some cool lighting for sure. So this is where the teens are going to be. Making our way down the hallway. To the left here are going to be all of the kids clubs, so we'll show you that right now. Kids clubs and the Pirates Cove kind of all in this area of the ship, so you're going to see a lot of children around this area. Of course, the arcade never far from that as well, or as I like to call it, the kiddie casino. One thing you'll notice on MSC ships, they do have a nice partnership with Lego, so this Lego guy right here is pretty cool, Lego Sailor. And then Do Re Mi Land is the name of the kids clubs on board, separated by different ages, entry area here, and it'll make your way over to the various different rooms. The studio is kind of a nightclub for kids, and this is all included in your voyage. There's different activities just for the kids on board, so if you have kids that are a little bit more social, they're probably going to want to be in here 24/7, which is kind of the point. Give some adults some time to relax as well. But along a hallway down to a couple of the different rooms. I felt like the amount of space dedicated to the kids clubs, while not the biggest, was pretty big. Definitely better than the Divina, which I've been on before. Loved the astronaut theme in here. Lots of different tech activities. Seemed like some learning going on as well, which is always fun on vacation. Of course, some foosball and great views of the ocean. But yeah, this felt like a very cool space for like a 12 to 14-year-old. For some of the younger kids, they have their own space as well. More arts and crafts. And of course, some video games. And then the youngest kids had a dedicated space as well. So plenty of toys to play with on the ground, a little area to climb up on. Some kids' movies playing as well, so plenty of fun to be had there. And then outside of that is going to be more family area. They're going to have pool tables, they're going to have some ping pong going on, some foosball, an extra charge shuffleboard area too. So this deck, very fun for the families. And this is our first look at the solarium. So that's underneath that retractable roof that we showed you earlier. It's a really nice space in here. It feels like a jungle, so an extension of the Pirates Cove. Very lush feeling environment here. Of course, no real plants, but a very nice feel indeed. The Long Island bar is going to be over to our left. This leads us back out to the Long Island pool that we found earlier. But we're going to go further beyond the pool because now we're going to start exploring a few more of the more confusing areas on the boat. So outside of the Long Island pool is going to be what's called the Bridge of Sighs. And this is going to be an attraction of sorts. It's a very pretty bridge for photos, but the floor is all glass and it looks down several decks below. So if you're afraid of heights, not the place for you, but it's got great aft views from the MSC Seashore. So I do recommend checking this area out. But so you can see below, there's an infinity pool down on that deck. I believe that's deck 6, and it is pretty far down there. And another great part about this area of the ship are these panoramic elevators that take you up and down from those decks. Great views aft from these beautiful windows and the Bridge of Sighs. Now let's take you inside to the marketplace, and fair warning, the marketplace gets a little busy, especially during when I filmed this video. It was very chaotic in here. I think this would be a major detraction. I'm not going to review the ship during this video because I have a whole video that's coming out on that. You can look forward to that. But it is very chaotic in here. Plenty of different options for food, of course, but during these busy meal times, it's just going to be very, very, very packed. Of course, everything included here in the buffet in your cruise fare, so this is going to be a popular destination. And that marketplace does end at the solarium pool again. So the solarium pool has its own bar as well. Overall, the marketplace buffet is a pretty large buffet. I did feel like this was one of the larger buffets that I've seen at sea. But a very peaceful area here in the solarium compared to what's inside at the marketplace buffet. Finally, rounding out the solarium area, there was a small kid pool. Had some fountains coming off of the walls, kind of felt like rock. I thought that this was actually more of just like a fountain, but I saw some kids playing in it. I'm still not 100% sure that it was a pool, but no one was stopping them, so might be a pool. Now moving all the way down to deck 8, we're going to start our tour on this deck in the spa, the Aurea Spa. So a number of different activities in here. You have a full barber shop, which is pretty cool. You also have a small shop for different makeups and creams and things like that. And then you have a nice entry area here, checking in for your spa appointments. And to the left of that is the included gym. The gym is one of the larger gyms that I've seen at sea. Brand new equipment, Techno Gym, sponsored by Techno Gym, in fact. Really great ocean views. I liked the windows that actually went over your head a little bit. So when you're jogging, it just felt like you were more open air. Just a really nice feel inside this gym. If you are thinking about planning your cruise on the MSC Seashore, us at Jackson Jet Setting can help you plan your next voyage. You can reach out to us at mark@jacksonjetsetting.com for a free quote, and we have a link down below. And then returning to our tour of the spa, you do have a full salon for nails and mani-pedis, that sort of thing. And then you have a bunch of treatment rooms for massages, and then that leads over to the thermal area. Thermal area is included in Yacht Club. You get an hour as a diamond member on MSC, and then you can also just pay to access it. I thought this was a pretty impressive area. Different shower experiences. There's a full whirlpool as well. There's even a snow room. So a lot of different options to relax here. And besides the indoor hot tub, which I did take a dip in and was quite relaxing, there's even an outdoor area, which I don't always see on every ship with these thermal suites. So it's nice to see that they had this here. This does have a private hot tub as well. So another relaxation area on board the MSC Seashore. I think that they did this very, very well. Walking away from the spa, you're going to find our first interior atrium. So a lot of things to do on these 3 decks. You'll notice that the Statue of Liberty is prominently displayed above the casino bar. Gives you a hint at the theme of the ship, as I mentioned before, New York City. To the left of that is what they call Times Square. LED screens everywhere. It does feel like Times Square. I thought this was a pretty cute area. Lots of live bands going on here, so pretty fun. Stretches 3 decks. Very chaotic feel, but that's part of the vibe here. Number of different shopping counters as well, open when the ship is not in port. And around Liberty Plaza, here are a number of different restaurants and cafes. To the left is Brooklyn Cafe. That's going to be a nice coffee option in the morning. A big room, has some live bands because there is a stage here, and it is right next to the outside promenade on this deck as well. As we leave the Brooklyn Cafe, there are a number of shops right next door. Fashion and jewelry here. And then the sports bar was very impressive to me. Okay, one, they're very smart. They have slot machines in the sports bar, which I think is a pretty smart move in terms of financial management. But there's lots of nooks and crannies, plenty of TVs in the sports bar here. You'd be surprised how many ships I go on that it's so hard to watch the sports that you want to watch. They had a giant screen playing the Masters on Masters weekend. They did a great job here. And these first come, first serve booths, you can have your own private viewing experience with your group, which is really, really cool. Loved all of the different areas here in the sports bar. Right outside the sports bar is going to be Ola Taco. This is a specialty restaurant on board. You could buy tacos a la carte, or you can do an all-you-can-eat package for $30. I did have a chance to dine here, and I thought it was actually really good for Mexican food. And then here is the main atrium for the ship. This is a pretty stellar little area. Lots of mirrored glass, lots of just chrome everywhere, multiple LED screens, lots of entertainment going on here throughout the cruise. And it's kind of nice that it's tiered so you can be on different floors watching all the activity go on. Number of different MSC branded shops available in this area as well as some shore excursion desks. And of course an art gallery. Now we're entering the chef's court area. This is going to have most of the specialty restaurants on board. So one of the most impressive spaces on board for me was the ship's sushi bar. The sushi bar is literally a sushi train restaurant, with the movable dishes that you see on land. I thought that was super cool. Just a really cool, fun group activity here. Something you don't see in every city. Next to that is Ocean Cay, the ship's seafood restaurant. And then behind all that is the Uptown Lounge, which is going to have a lot of entertainment in the evenings. Exiting Uptown Lounge is going to be Butcher's Cut. This is the ship's steakhouse. And then exiting Butcher's Cut, you're going to find the wine cellar over here to the left, the cocktail bar, as well as Kaito Teppanyaki. So they do have a teppanyaki restaurant on board, similar to Benihana on land. Very slick looking restaurant. Here's the wine cellar. I never saw anyone in here my entire cruise. Never saw anyone drinking any wine in here, so I'm not sure if they actually use it as a bar, but it's very impressive looking. And now we made it back to Hola Tacos and Cantina. And this deck does have an outdoor promenade that encircles it. And if you make your way to the back on that promenade, you'll find the Vinci Gelato Bar, as well as the Infinity Pool and the Infinity Bar. So this is what you can see from the Bridge of Sighs, way, way up on the top levels of the ship. There's very nice views here of Nassau when I shot this video. Here's a look at the panoramic elevators from the outside that I showed you earlier, and the Bridge of Sighs way up there. Now we'll make our way to Deck 7. We're going to see our first main dining restaurant. This is going to be the Fifth Avenue restaurant, again a New York theme. Now you are assigned a main dining room, but they all have the same menus on board. There are 3 of them. As we make our way down the Boulevard du Cabaret, there's a very cool art installation here from trippy lights, very cool look, and very modern feel for the ship. The second main dining restaurant is going to be here. It's the Manhattan Restaurant. And then next to that is going to be the Cabaret Rouge, and this is the ship's nightclub. There's a number of different events that happen here throughout the cruise. There's also a fun little photo display from a hot air balloon nearby with some cool LEDs going on. That area does dead end, so doubling back, we've made it back to the main atrium here. The champagne and wine bar is here, as well as a number of different shops. And this leads us to the MSC Signature Casino. So a pretty large casino on board. Again, it spans 2 decks technically because there are some slot machines in the sports bar. And there is that main casino bar right in the middle. So that was a big hubbub of activity throughout the cruise. Big walking path in and out of the casino. At the other end of the casino, you'll find the Madison Theater. Madison Theater is the main theater on board where all your production shows are going to be. They had a production show each evening on our cruise, so very fun. Get your seats early unless you're in Yacht Club, which has reserved seating towards the back of the theater. Now on deck 6, we're going to explore a few more areas indoors. Plenty of shopping going on here at the bottom of Liberty Plaza. This is Times Square over here. But yes, some very fun named shops like accessories here on the MSC Seashore. A couple of different lounge areas here. This area felt like a very high-end mall, kind of like something out of Dubai. Main shopping street here. And then I love the Vinci chocolate shop at the end here. Very high-end chocolate brand. Very cool feel in here. There's lots of chocolatiers making things throughout the cruise. So some really cool stuff in this area. Wish I spent a little bit more time in here exploring all of the different options that you can buy. A couple more duty-free stores here. Buying your liquor with no taxes. And so this hallway leads us to the Shine Bar, which is in the main atrium, as well as another excursions desk. And then at the end of this deck is going to be the Tribeca restaurant, which is another main dining room here. Another look at the massive atrium, all the chrome, all the glass. We've just got one more deck to go here. So this is the Seashore Bar at the very bottom of the atrium. You're going to have guest services here. You're going to have the future cruise desk. You're actually going to have the 4th restaurant available, main dining room. This is a Central Park restaurant. So not a huge deck, but there are a lot of things that people need here. And Central Park is pretty large, just like Tribeca. Decent sized dining room here on board the MSC Seashore. Just a few more areas to explore here on deck 5. You have the photo gallery and then the MSC Foundation section, which was kind of cool that they are promoting sort of their charitable work for the oceans here on board the MSC Seashore. But besides that, you just have deck 4, which is medical, and I don't really film that for these tours. So I'm going to leave you as you walk through the photo gallery. Hope you find your funny photo or something like that. But overall, a great ship, lots to do on board, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped you plan your next cruise.